My argument to all the people saying Arch Manning has a shot at the starting job, what are you basing that opinion off of? When I vouch for Quinn Ewers, I can sit up here and tell you, hey man, the guy was really good. He probably would have beat Alabama if he didn't get hurt. So we have a very interesting situation to talk about in today's video involving the former #1 quarterback in the country, 5-star recruit, Quinn Ewers, and oh yeah, what do you know, another 5-star recruit. I'd say there's a lot of hype around his name, Arch Manning. I'm going to assume that a majority of you know that Arch Manning recently, he committed to Texas and he's going to be playing there next season. At first glance, when I heard the news, I didn't think it was a big deal whatsoever because my original thought was, okay, he's going to ride the bench, it's still Quinn Ewers' team, there's no way Arch Manning has a chance at the starting spot. I get it, his last name's Manning, he's got all the hype in the world, he looks like a stereotypical high school movie star quarterback, but Quinn Ewers is really, and I mean really good. I don't think anybody has been higher on Quinn Ewers than me myself. I was hyping this guy up when he was riding the bench at Ohio State. And I get it, all the naysayers are going to bring up, well Matt, last year Quinn Ewers, he wasn't all that. I don't care, I'm still in love with this dude. Okay, I know that sounded weird, but you get what I'm trying to say, I'm in love with his game. To make a long story short, the way I feel about Quinn Ewers, the dude can play. He's a straight up baller. But apparently, Quinn Ewers' starting spot, it's not locked in, and Arch Manning, he's going to have a shot at it. There's some people out here who believe there is going to be at least a slight quarterback competition between these two guys. It's safe to say there's a lot of mixed feelings and emotions about this, rightfully so, because Arch Manning, he just got onto campus. We're going to talk all about that in today's video. It is the one and only topic we're going to go over, and I'm very curious. Let me know your thoughts on this down below in the comment section. As always, if you're new to the channel and you like college football content, consider joining our community. Would love to have you here. All right, Matt, blah, blah, shut the crap up. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. I gotta be honest with y'all, I feel it. It's in the air. I guess it's because spring practice is coming up, but I'm feeling that energy start to come back. I know what all you're gonna say. Matt, we're still 5-6 months away from the season. I don't care. I can feel the anticipation, the hype building up. There's something about this time of year when it starts getting warm. I'm like, okay, we're getting closer to football. Okay, that sounded corny, but you get what I'm trying to say. We're getting closer. Next thing you know, you're gonna wake up. It's gonna be the middle of July, and we're gonna be talking about how Texas is back. It's gonna happen. That conversation happens every single season. You just gotta prepare for it. Regardless of that, we're not here really to talk about is Texas gonna be back or not. By the way, they're not gonna be back next year. We're here to talk about this quarterback competition. So recently, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Steve Sarkisian, had to say this about his two quarterbacks. Quote unquote, I'm not worried about who's gonna be on the cover of what magazine next week. I'm more focused on is each guy focusing on what they need to do to develop to be the best player they can be. Quinn has had an entire year of a head start, but I don't want to hold Arch back. I want to see how far he can take this thing and what it can look like. Continuing along, all of a sudden, now the guy gets a haircut and cleans up his beard a little bit and everyone thinks Quinn's real serious right now. But that's human nature. It's never been a question of him taking this serious. He wants to be really good. He wants to be a leader of this team. He wants to win a championship with these guys, and that doesn't change what he does day to day, but appearance is what it is. And so I do think him recognizing that shows some maturity. Continuing to go along here, here's what Steve Sarkisian had to say about Arch Manning. For Arch today, day one, there's some plays for sure that he would love to have back. There's some other plays that he made where I think everybody was like, wow, that was a heck of a play. But he brings a worker's mentality and he wants to be really good at this game. And also something else, I'm not going to read it, you can read it for yourself if you want, that I found rather interesting is that Steve Sarkisian stated that their star wide receiver Xavier Worthy, yeah, he had a down year last year, but the reason for that is because he was playing with a broken hand. I know not too many people are going to care about that too much, but let me know your thoughts on that because apparently he played the last half of the season last year with a broken hand. Do y'all think that's an excuse? Because Xavier Worthy, if you didn't know this, last year his production had dropped off a ton. From all those quotes I showed you and everything Steve Sarkisian said, you know the news media, they was going to pick this up, and now they're trying to create this narrative that there's going to be this quarterback competition between Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning. I'll just show you one of them right here. Sark makes it clear that Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning will have a quarterback competition starting today at spring practice. Yes, he did make that clear. However, you gotta have context to every situation. Steve Sarkisian also made it clear that every spot there's gonna be a competition. So yes, you're technically right when you want to say, yeah, there's a quarterback competition going on, but also there's a competition going on at the wide receiver spot, the DBs, the O-line, every single position. And I'm asking you guys, I know I'm asking you a lot of questions. Please let me know your thoughts down below. Do you actually think Arch Manning has a chance to win the starting job? I don't think so. I really don't, and it's for multiple different reasons. Reason number one is, and probably the only reason I actually need, is Quinn Ewers is special. I get it, when you look at his numbers, and a lot of people are going to bring this up because it is a fair argument, it doesn't stick out to you. In 2022, he only had 2,177 passing yards, 15 touchdowns, 6 INTs, and a QBR of 64.8. And he also only completed 58% of his passes. That's not that good. You take away the fact that he was a 5-star recruit and his name is Quinn Ewers and one of the #1 recruits in the country, it just looks like average numbers. And at times last year, yes, he did look like a freshman. He was making those freshman mistakes. I'd be sitting up here lying to you if I said he was on the level of a CJ Stroud, a Bryce Young, or a Caleb Williams, because he wasn't even close. But the one thing I go back to at Quinn Ewers is this kid has talent and his potential is through the roof. It was his first year at a big name brand school like Texas, and there was a ton of pressure. And I thought at times he delivered under pressure. I also thought at times he wasn't getting a lot of help from his wide receivers. Look, man, I'm going to tell you this straight up. I don't care what his numbers say. I know talent when I see it. So that's reason number one why I don't think Arch Manning has too great of a shot or any shot at all. Reason number two is Arch Manning, he just got there. I think a lot of fans, they have a terrible perspective of how it actually is to be a college athlete. In basketball, it's a little different because the speed from high school to college, yeah, it changes, but you don't got to memorize a lot of stuff. In basketball, you just go out there and play. In football, it is way different. You got to study film for every single team, and heck, one of the hardest parts about it is just memorizing your own plays. Being a quarterback, there is so much to memorize. It takes a year just to get comfortable. And I think the best case scenario for Texas is to do what Alabama did with Mac Jones and Bryce Young. I don't think a lot of people even think about this or take it into account, but what helped out Bryce Young so much is taking that year and watching Mac Jones do what he did. That entire year where Mac Jones, he started and Bryce Young was on the bench, Bryce Young, he was learning the system, and it helped him out a ton. And even if Quinn Ewers doesn't perform at an exceptionally high level next year, I think it's going to benefit Arch Manning a ton just sitting on the bench and learning. You can learn a lot as a quarterback just by watching other quarterbacks playing the system you're about to go into. And I get it, it's 2023. We're no longer old school. We no longer want to give guys 2 or 3 years. We want to see them come in as a freshman and dominate right away. But what I got to remind myself, and I think others need to remind themselves as well, that's not normal. It's rare. It is rare for a guy to come in straight out of high school and throw for 30 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. It's rare. It really is. So to conclude, reason number 2, I don't think Arch Manning is ready. Reason number 3 as to why I don't think Arch Manning has any shot at this whatsoever is because I'm not sold on him. I'm really not. I know all these ESPN nerds and gurus are like, yo, Arch Manning, he's going to be the next best thing since sliced bread. But they're only saying that because of his last name. I like the kid. He seems like a real humble guy and a genuine guy. Shout out to the Manning family because they've raised him right. But dang, what's his claim to fame? And when I say what's his claim to fame, my argument to all the people saying Arch Manning has a shot at the starting job, what are you basing that opinion off of? When I vouch for Quinn Ewers, I can sit up here and tell you, hey man, the guy was really good. He probably would have beat Alabama if he didn't get hurt. He's got a strong arm, quick release, smart guy, and normally makes the right play 9 out of 10 times. I can continue to go on and on and on, but when you want to vouch for Arch Manning, what are you going to bring up? His high school film? For those of you that don't know, Arch Manning played terrible competition in high school. I'm not going to hold it against him, but it is what it is. I'm not going to sit up here and praise Arch Manning because he's beating a bunch of future DoorDash drivers. On the flip side, for Quinn Ewers, he was playing some pretty good competition in high school. So when I was hyping him up for him coming out of high school, I could base that off of, okay, he's playing other 3, 4, and 5-star recruits. Arch Manning, he didn't do that. Make no mistakes about it. This is Quinn Ewers' job. I think he knows it. I deep down think Steve Sarkisian knows it, and I hope and pray that all of you know it as well. To my Texas fans, if you want to hype up Arch Manning, that's cool. I remember as an Alabama fan, all these other Bama fans out here were hyping up Bryce Young, and he still sat the bench for a season. I just solely believe, even if Quinn Ewers is struggling at times next year, it's not in your best interest to insert a true freshman in Arch Manning into Big 12 action. I'm wishing old Arch the best of luck. I think he's going to be really fun to talk about next year, but this year, slow down a little bit. All of this about there being a quarterback competition, it's too much. And you know when I say it's too much, it is too much because I'm a professional overreactor. Quinn is going to be the starter hands down unless he goes out there and starts playing like dog crap, and I don't see that happening. I am curious though. Let me know your thoughts down below, but